All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Onward and Upward, which is a nonprofit founded by Anna Maria 4 years ago. And it's about helping everybody, but especially the homeless population and veterans with finding employment. And I think I'm Emily, one of the co-hosts, along with Kurt Roskoff. And Carol, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. I am Kurt Roskoff.
We have two guests today, Patty, Ernest, and Sean. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name.
You can do it.
Sean L. Lacagina.
Pretty close. Lacanina. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Back over to you, Kurt. I just wanted to make sure I got that in there.
There you go. Yes, indeed. We got to keep our formalities in place. So again, I am Kurt Roskoff. I'm an ambassador with Onward and Upward, and with Dr. Anna Maria Bliven. She also is a veteran and woman entrepreneur that has founded also a business, Prosperity Pathways. And I enjoy being an ambassador for Prosperity Pathways as well. And I got introduced to all of this 1.5 years ago. And when I met Dr. Anna Maria Bliven, she, first of all, didn't have her doctorate yet. So she was just simply Anna Maria Bliven, but it's in recent times she got her doctorate degree completed. So I just say Dr. B and Dr. Bliven all day long to celebrate that she has achieved that status. So way to go, Anna Maria. But I had introduced her to the Disability Channel, which is about showcasing abilities. And she tracks so well into all that. Today we enjoy that she has a TV show of her own now that is Veterans Onward to Prosperity. And so lots to say here on what we're representing. We're honored and privileged to do so on her behalf, and the whole organization, the whole team. We had about a dozen of us meeting this morning, in fact. And so coming into today's show, I want to give a shout out to Nathan Verkovsky from out of Canada. He had given us some communications about his interest into this podcast. Some chance he might come in before we're done here, but if we don't see him in today's show, rest assured that there is a future for Nathan Verkovsky out of Canada. He'll be coming in here with everything that he brings and represents. So in the TV,
Carrie,
yeah.
Carrie, I saw he's scheduled for the 21st.
The 21st. Wait, that's not the note I took down. I might have been told that. So there you go. Then now we'll correct the record. Thanks to our executive.
Sorry if I told you the wrong date, dude. But yeah, that's the 21st.
All right. Well, I knew we wanted to give him a shout out one way or another. So it's always good to promote future shows because we want you here every week if we can, please. So again, the work that we do here at Onward and Upward is responding to people experiencing homelessness. And it's through a solution of employment and otherwise income, whether it be a business enterprise or whatever it may be. Because obviously when that money comes in and we get paid for what we do, then we have a budget to pay our rent or to pay our mortgage and stuff like that. So this is the wheelhouse we're in our nonprofit. So again, we're here with Sean, who represents his business Anchor Point Business Development. So we're going to see what's on the fringes of business with Sean, and if he maybe even personally has some volunteer stories, some community development things. I always say I celebrate if people are in a faith community and they give of themselves in their faith community, whatever it may be. It's all good in the hood. And I start saying that a lot because I'm 1.5 years into being with the Happy Neighborhood Project. So as far as the Happy Neighborhood Project, I come to start saying it's all good in the hood. And I specifically mean the happy neighborhood, where the zip code is HAPPY. And that's where we met Sean and Patty Ernest here. So it's a networking phenomenon that my assessment is that in a year and a half, I've seen probably a couple thousand people come through my purview as I attended all the events and everything. And I know we got 1,200 of them into the Happy Co-op, and under the direction of Edwin Edeberry, our Chief Happiness Officer, we're imagining a future where we're going to take that 1,200 to 10,000 within a year. And a couple of years from now, our imagination's telling us 100,000 people through the Happy Co-op. So we're with 4 of us here that are part of that community. And so we're very growth oriented. So Sean, let's come over to you a little bit. Thrive2win.com, Anchor Point Business Development, proven coaching, life-changing results. Give us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and your any products you have, or if it's all services just in coaching. Help our audience know, who are we talking with today?
Well, I appreciate that, Kurt. Yeah, we did meet through the Happy Network thing, and it is amazing to see how that grows and keeps evolving. So I don't think your projections are wild imagination. That's for sure. It's amazing. So I am a business coach. I'm also a sales trainer. I've got 35 plus years business experience, most of that in the sales world, helping clients with either their image, their message, whatever may be going on in that area. But currently I work primarily with small business owners, helping them kind of get a grasp on what's happening in their business. A lot of them have had experienced growth, and maybe it's tapered off, or they're having growing pains. The business isn't quite what they thought it might be when they envisioned it. So I just kind of help bring a clarity to that situation, a clarity to their vision, and then help them build a bridge to get where they want to be. And then, as I said, the sales training as well. I'm a big believer in sales skills, not just for salespeople. I don't even envision them just as sales or business skills. I really envision them as life skills. I think everybody can use sales skills to better themselves or situation, and we use them every day in our life with our family, our friends, at the grocery store. It's a constant with those types of things. So when I embodied that some 35 years ago, it really made a difference in my life, in being that I didn't look at it as if I was trying to learn a business skill, right? It was really helping me get better at just being me. And so I try and pass that along to others at this stage in my life. That's a long-winded answer to a short question, but
Yep. Thank you very much. So Emily, what's next on this, your Onward and Upward podcast?
I guess I don't know if you want to have Patty say kind of what she does, or should dive into what Sean does for nonprofit stuff. Gert, but
All right, so we're on a little bit of a tease here. Which way is it going to go? So we're going to go ahead over to Patty, and Patty types in Patty's pampered pet sitting, and in the green room we said, you know what, we're going to refer to Patty as our guinea pig for Sean here. So you're going to watch a little dynamic here as I put Sean's acumen to the test, and just have some fun with Patty. Patty is one of the most fun people around the world you'd ever want to meet. So this is going to be good, folks. The drama is about to start. But Patty, tell us, what is Patty's pampered pet sitting all about? What do you do for pets and their family?
Thank you. So for 28 years, my service got started by customers who were saying, if you don't start your own service, we're not going to have you take care of our kids anymore, as they're referred to. My service is all about in your home pet sitting. And it has been around again for 28 years. And it has faced all kinds of challenges with COVID. And the most recent challenge is, whose bed do I sleep in? am I able to sleep in customers' bed? Like, for instance, I had an interview with somebody yesterday who wasn't vaccinated. And it raised all kinds of challenges as to whether I was going to be able to continue. Well, she basically, she basically ended the interview. It wasn't going to happen. But it is a major concern. I have been vaccinated twice. I am working on getting my booster. I have been tested twice. I've tested negative. So, but I have taken care of a number of pets, you name it. I have probably taken care of that breed. Over the holidays, took care of one home consisting of 4 pets, one home consisting of 2 seniors. One of them was a senior. And a kitty cat who is very shy. It's taken her 6 months to warm up to me, but she's at a point where she's very warmed up to me. So that's what I do. I was nominated National Pet Sitter of the Year. I received a lot of awards for my commitment to service. I take what I do very seriously. I have a passion for pets. It is what I am here for. As somebody said, it's what I was put on this earth to do. So what else would you like to know? For what else, what other types of questions can I answer for the public?
Okay, well, let's show them some good old-fashioned networking at play, because I'm getting a sense that you and Sean have never met before 20 minutes ago, right?
Correct.
All right, so this is what we're going to do here is you heard a little bit about Sean's business, Anchor Point Business Development, proven coaching, life-changing results. He mentioned a little something about sales acumen. So I'm guessing if I can go toe to toe with Sean here and try to scour out like what does he all got going on in his sales camp. But Patty, as you heard Sean and you're getting an idea of what he brings to the table, and now you've got Patty's Pamper Pet Sitting, and you need to get local results because you want to go around your own marketplace right there close to you. And you would just want to take care of people's pets all over the place around all those happy neighborhoods around you. So give us some reaction to Sean's business. You're seeing Thrive to Win. Are you kind of feeling a little itch, a little urge to go visit that website? Because, hey, maybe Sean's got some ideas that might help your business. What do you think, Patty?
Well, I'm very open to it. And I'm very open to the website, very open to talking with him. And hopefully we'll get some results, life-changing results.
There we go. We're holding you to it, Sean. You're displaying a promise here. So we're going to get to it. So Sean, I just want to share with you a little bit. I happen to have been a representative with Primerica Financial Services and Citigroup. And so that organization happens to subscribe to, in part, Tom Hopkins, sales training. Mm-hmm. And so I remember, kind of being in the big training, that Tom Hopkins would be running. And, he'd be talking to us about, hey, you got to lower the sales resistance, and you got to get to that point before you turn that corner to all of a sudden attempt to raise the sales acceptance. And he talks about tie downs and all stuff. So, I mean, at the risk of kind of introducing in the world that, somebody quote unquote over in a competitor position, that if somebody wants to improve their sales, they could go to him. But I just want to, kind of pick your brain a little bit, in the sales camp. What is your flavor? What's your flair? How do you distinguish yourself from all the other sales coaches out there and making us all comfortable? Like, think of all the people we network with at the Happy Neighborhood Project. I bet every single one of us could use some good sales tips. And there's a lot of work in the marketplace about not calling it sales, because a lot of entrepreneurs, it just kind of makes them a little squirm a little bit,
Right. That's always been the case, right? People, sales has a bad name. You think of this slime ball that sells a used car, or, all of the but there's bad apples in every profession, right? I'm a huge Tom Hopkins fan. He was one of my mentors, and
Good.
actually, I had one of my bucket list things. I had never met him, and I actually got to be in a meeting with him about 3 months ago. Me and six or seven of us on the call. It was amazing. He's fabulous. And I don't know how much you know about him. He really is a real estate guy. Started in real estate when he was like 19 years old. And one of the tricks he told us, so as he was growing up and getting good in the real estate world, he would have open houses. And he was in California, I believe. So it's hot, it's summertime. He would have an open house. And if it was a family that had come to the open house, before they left, if he thought they were really interested, he would give them a half-gallon pint of, or a half-gallon thing of ice cream. Why do you think he did that?
Because everybody likes ice cream. You get a little sugar high.
Yeah.
California is a dairy state known for the cows. You want people to feel at home. Bribing them through their bellies. I don't know. I'm thinking you're going to come up with something.
All valid reasons, but that's not why he did it. He did it because it's California. It's hot. Where are they going to have to go if I just gave you a gallon of ice cream? Directly home. So
Yeah.
they're not going to look at any more houses. They're interested in the house.
Man.
They'd have to go home. They had their family. Kids probably wanted some of the ice cream when they got there. I just thought it was brilliant, and that's the kind of out of box thinking that he, always brought to the table. Zig Ziglar, I don't know if you're familiar with Zig Ziglar. He was really probably my main mentor, had more of an impact on my life than just about anyone. So him, Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy, those were kind of the three stalwarts. And then Stephen Covey, absolutely, was amazing. And you're right. There's always been a talk of not mentioning that you're in sales, and it's not one that I have ever bought into. I'm very proud that I've always been a part of the sales profession. Nothing happens until something's sold. Our economy doesn't work until something's sold. And as I said, I really believe that the skills that a salesperson uses are really life skills. I mean, we're talking about listening. We're talking about having empathy for people. We're talking about helping them get really what a professional salesperson. So that's let's segment it out that way. But a professional salesperson, their whole job is really no different than probably most of what we all do in our everyday lives and business. It's figuring out where the client is, figuring out where the client wants to be, and if that's where they need to be, and then helping them get there. It's no different than what I do in coaching. It's no different than what I've done in any of my business careers. And that's really all sales is having a sense of listening to someone to figure out, can I help them? Am I able to help this person achieve what they want to achieve? Zig Ziglar used to say, well, I was famous for saying, if you help enough people get what they want out of life, you'll always have what you want, right? You can always get what you want if you help enough other people get what they want first. It's that BNI, if you're a BNI member, it's a giver's gain mentality, right? And it's really, you had mentioned nonprofit world in the beginning. It's a nonprofit deal as well. It's right. We give and we gain from that. We gain in a lot of different ways, but it's the giving first that really matters. And if salespeople have that mentality of approaching their clients with the mindset of, I'm going to help this person, not how much can I make off of this person, it makes a world of difference in their relationship. In everything that we do in life, whether it's our friends, our neighbors, our spouse, our significant other, our kids, we're either building up rapport or we're tearing it down. Rapport is another word for trust, right? We're either building it up or we're tearing it down. There's no coasting. It's not, Emily and I don't get to be such great friends that then all of a sudden we can coast and I never have to worry about whether or not we're good or not. I'm either building up with every interaction I have with her, or I'm tearing it down. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which way you want to look at it, it's a heck of a lot easier to tear it down than it is to build it up. It may take me years to earn Emily's trust, but I can lose it in a moment, right? And that's true throughout. That's true in sales. It's true in business. It's true in our relationships. And that's what we're talking about. right? So it's building up that rapport, building up that trust with the client, really having the empathy to listen to where they're at, figuring out if I really have in my skill set, whether that's me personally, my company, my business, the company I work for, do we have the toolbox to help this client be successful in what they're wanting to do? And if so, then let's do it. When you approach life that way, when you approach sales that way, price really is not the question. You know, most of sales training, especially in the old days, was focused around closing and the price. And and yeah, those are all legitimate concerns, and there are things that have to be addressed. But if you approach it with, I'm really trying to help this person, I'm really trying to build a relationship with this person, I'm really trying to invest in this person, this organization, every survey ever shown has shown that price really isn't even in the top 5, sometimes not even the top 10 reasons why they won't do business with a particular company or person, all things else being equal. Now, if it's a commodity item, right, we're going to buy a toothbrush or something along those lines where it's kind of more similar. Yeah, a $10 toothbrush versus a $3 toothbrush, that's a different deal. But now we have toothbrushes that are hundreds of dollars, right? So even that idea kind of goes out the window. It's really a matter of building that rapport, building that trust, listening to the client, figuring out if you can help them, and then having that conversation. And that's all that sales is a conversation, right? If I were going to talk to Patty about her business and where she's at, I would ask her questions about her business. I'd ask her questions about what she thinks is holding her back. I would ask her questions about, where she wants to go. And in my mind, I'm thinking, can I help her get there? If I can't, maybe I know someone that could. I do happen to know a coach, by the way, that just won. She does dog walking, not sitting. I don't think it's quite the same thing, but she was the franchise of the year just this past year in that business. And she's also a business coach, but she owns a dog walking business. So she might be able to relate to you better and help in those areas. But so that's, again, it's just a matter of figuring out, do I click with this person? And it, for me, it can never be more important to me than it is for the client. So if I'm the one that really wants this to happen, that's probably not a good formula for success. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just curious who it is that is a dog walker of the year.
I'm sorry.
I'm just curious who it is that is the dog walker of the year. And where is she located?
She's just outside of Houston, Texas. She's down I think in Dickinson now. They just moved. They bought a house. It might be Seabrook, back down that way. I'm not sure what her dog walking business name is, but I can find out for you. She's a heck of a lady. Her and her husband are both coaches that are peers of mine in the Houston area. We're part of a Texas leadership committee together. And that's the other thing that I love about what I do is, I don't have all the answers, but I have a community around me that can definitely help me get there. And the beautiful thing about coaching is that I don't think the answers come from me anyway. They come from my clients. It's really a matter of me helping them come to those answers and then holding them accountable to execute. About 15 years ago, I started a consulting firm. And what I found, I would show up, I would do the sales training, leadership training, high performance training, whatever it was we were doing. And 6 months later, a lot of the things that we had agreed to implement weren't happening. As a business coach, what I'm finding is the solutions are coming from my clients. And 6 months later, because they're being held accountable for them, they're sticking and they are having results. So whether Sean's there or not, the business is improving. And that's a thrill for me.
Yeah, just going off of what you said before, it's kind of like trying to get them to be what they want instead of you wanting it
Absolutely.
to happen. It's trying to get them to have it being the reciprocal instead of them wanting it, instead of wanting it to happen instead of you.
And in the coaching world, Emily, you're absolutely correct. It's not, and I guarantee everything for my clients too. So I even put more on. I fully invest in what I'm doing. The reason I'm doing what I'm doing at this point in my life, so I'll be 58 years old next month. I wanted to affect small businesses because I believe that small businesses in every community across our nation affect that community, right? Big businesses are great, but the small businesses really have an impact throughout those communities. And if I can affect a small business to change and to grow and to improve, that ripples out to their employees, to their families, to their clients, to their vendors, and it really can help change a community. That excites me. It's very much like the Happy Network, right? It's that ripple effect through communities that is so exciting. And I think with COVID, for all of its downfalls and all the craziness, God knows that we have right now, it is bringing or expanding communities. You know, just think as Kurt started the meeting talking about how much the Happy Network has grown and how many more people it's affecting, and looking out 5, 10, 15, 20 years, who knows what that holds. So there's always positives, right? And it's just, how do you want to address the world? How do you want to face things? Are you going to respond? Are you going to react? What are you going to do? I'm a big believer in mindset. I'm a big believer in attitude. And I just feel like when you attack things from that point of view, we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we're going to respond to it. And how we respond often is the difference between us having a successful outcome or a victim outcome. So now I'm starting to get on a soapbox, and I don't like when I do that.
It's perfectly okay, Sean. You're on your soapbox anytime. So Gary, are we going to go to the nonprofit side now, or do you have any other questions?
Just real quickly, let's keep this interplay going here. So Patty, we've been listening to a lot of dialogue, narrative messaging from Sean. You're getting a deeper and deeper view of what he's doing. We're getting in the shop talk of sales. And again, I keep looking at your business. Patty's Pampered Pet Sitting. You know, you have needs, you have goals to grow your business. Why don't we start here? Patty, what is your background in sales? How are you experiencing sales in your business? And what are your goals to improve yourself, professional development in sales? What does that look like for you, Patty, to make sure that you get more clients for Patty's Pampered Pet Sitting?
So thank you. So I am generally the person who can go into a home and make people feel comfortable enough that they hand me the keys to their home. That's it in a nutshell. My sales background is I am the person who can go into a phone room and set leads for a solar hot water heating company that I've done early on, where I was sent into other rooms to help train other workers. I was setting the solid leads so that all the consultants, actually the installers, had to do was go out on the job. And I have also sold Avon. So I have a little bit of sales background in that way. I think sales applies to every aspect of life, though. You know, as I think Sean brought that out a little bit, at least, that it does apply to every aspect of life. And it's a matter of being able to sell. The difficulty I'm having is that the policies that are in place, for instance, in a lot of standard apartment communities, are such that there is no variation. This is how they do things, and that's the end of the discussion. That's one of the challenges that I'm facing. So there is no room to sit down and negotiate. I've tried it a couple of times. I've offered my services to them, saying, if we can talk a little bit about reduction in rent, would you consider having me as a pet sitter for the community? And I have basically been told there's no variation. This is how things are intended to be, because it's a tight market in the Phoenix area. That's what I've experienced. But I'm generally the one with pet sitting who can go in, and if somebody's had a bad experience with other sitters, I'm the one who can convince them that, you know, they need to hire my service.
Okay, so Sean, as you're hearing Patty and you think of, okay, you're like a sales coach or otherwise coaching and everything you have for business development, again, thrive2win.com. And now we have Patty here. Can you open this up a little bit, unpack it, as they say? You know, if Patty were to kind of be in this point of considering whether to hire you or not, what does that look like? What kind of stuff do you tell Patty in terms of, you know, if she just keeps doing things the way she is, and, you know, a little concern, is she going to get enough people to ask her to do pet sitting that her business will continue or not? How do you look at it for a business like Patty's Pampered Pet Sitting, Sean?
Well, it's exactly, you know, you've kind of nailed it on the head there. It's and it doesn't matter whether it's Patty or ExxonMobil, right? It's, here's where you are. If nothing changes, where are you going to be? And really what you look at, even if you're a growing organization, it's a matter of how much more, you know, of all the sales training I've done over 35 years, individuals, companies, et cetera. I love it when someone tells me how successful they are, but they haven't hit their potential. So to me, it's your potential that's really defines the success, right? For one person, that may be one thing. For another person, it looks totally different. You know, for Emily, it may be to sell $1 million. For Kurt, it may be 100,000, and both could be very successful when they're striving for that full potential, right? But to say that, you know, well, Emily's very successful because she's doing $1 million and Kurt's not, I've never bought into that. It's really, what's the individual, what's the capabilities of the person? You know, what are the skill sets and what are their goals? What do they want to accomplish? It looks different for everyone in that regard. But that's exactly what I do, Kurt, is I ask a lot more questions and define, you know, in selling, you would call it the gap, right? What's the gap between where you want to be and where you are? And if I can help you get there, does it make sense for us to work together? If I can't help you, then I really don't want to engage. That doesn't do me any good or you any good. Because as I mentioned earlier, I guarantee what I do. If in any month you don't feel like you're getting the benefit out of our engagement, then I'll refund your money. So it's not a money issue for me. It's a metric issue. It's not, I don't do the coaching of, hey, Patty, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you want to be? And let's talk about that. That's not what I'm about. Not that there's anything wrong with that, if that's what people want to, you know, get into, but that's not what Sean's about. I'm really about the business and where do you want to take it, and making sure that as we grow that business and as we do what you say you want to do, that we're keeping everything in check too. This doesn't mean that you're going to work, you know, 20 hours a day, every day at your desk, and this is a successful life. If it's affecting your personal life, then that's not a really good plan. That doesn't mean we don't have seasons. Maybe Patty has, you know, a month out of the year where she is working 20 hours or 24 hours a day. Okay, I can live with that, but that can't be an everyday deal. I don't think anyone started a business thinking, I really want to work every waking hour, not have a personal life. You know, I haven't met that person yet that has told me that, even the workaholics, right? So it's just a matter of really understanding, again, where are we? Get a very clear picture on that. And that's what we spend probably the first at least month of our engagement, is getting a very clear picture on who is Patty? What is Patty's business? Who really is Patty's clients? You know, look at all aspects of her business, as far including pricing, margins. You know, Brian Tracy talks about in a book called The Way to Wealth, 6 different levers that a business can affect to increase their growth. 4 of them are kind of in the sales aspect, right? The number of leads we get, how we convert those leads, the number of sales we have, how often do they buy from us, the margins, all of those things that we think about in sales. Those are levers that we can tweak to increase our profit. And then there's cost of goods sold and operational costs that are kind of on the other side of the ledger that we can also affect. But it's not a 20 or 50% change in any of those levers. Small changes over any period of time will have a drastic effect. Very similar, you mentioned financial before, Kurt. It's very similar to a savings account or a checking account or a stock market, right? Compounding those minor changes over time have a dramatic effect. It's the exact same thing when we start looking at businesses as well. If we take a margin from 30% to 35%, well, what does that look like at the end of the year? If we added 2 more clients, what does that look like? If those clients bought one more time from us each quarter, what does that look like to the business? So again, it's not huge things. It's really looking at tweaks to the business, given that it's a successful concept, and figuring out where we can take it to.
All right. So Patty, we're about 40 minutes into this podcast and we're just learning tons about what's in that brain of Sean's. We're kind of pulling out, gems like a treasure chest. Do you have any comments, questions, anything you want to just shower over Sean with compliments? Anything going on in your mind about what we're learning about today with Anchor Point? Anything, does it relate to you? Is he talking over your head? What's your experience with this, Patty?
I think that he makes a lot of sense. I like the idea about the potential versus a success theory. And it's something that I'm working towards, but each person's success and each person's potential might, as you're saying, be the same as somebody else's. For me, I would like to start by getting to the point of where I was in Florida. I'm not looking at pie in the sky of, I have to be making $1 million. I had a pet sitting guru tell me on my website that I don't have a Lamborghini website. Now, this would bring other people to my website, which is pattyscamper.com. But that's what I was told is it's not a Lamborghini. And my response to that, because the person didn't know me, was, I don't want a Lamborghini website. I don't want to hire 5 other pet sitters to attempt to keep track of everybody else. I have a boutique service. I am very humbly proud of my boutique service of what is accomplished in the past. So I'm not the person who's looking to hire other sitters because I'm going to need to keep track of them on top of what I do. So there are, it's like you're saying, it's what is the person really about? What are they interested in doing? What works for Kurt, perhaps I'm wanting to establish what he's doing with the podcast and bringing more people on board and wanting to have maybe, I don't know, more podcasts. Let's just throw that out there possibly. That might work for Kurt. Okay. That's not what Patty's about. Patty's main goal right now is to get to the point where I was at in Florida. Then I'd be willing to talk further about what else could be done to move it along if I chose to. But I'm definitely not the person who wants to bring on, I've seen it done. I have seen the services that have brought on a number of other sitters. I've also heard the complaints. I've heard the other side of it. I've heard both sides of it. It's not what I want to do. I don't want that kind of responsibility. I want to be able to do what I do.
And I think it's important that you know that, and the person that was trying to sell you a website was doing just that. He was trying to sell you a website. He wasn't really listening to what you needed. He wasn't really interested, or she interested in the website serving your need. Mm-hmm. They were interested in selling you a Lamborghini, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that's what I'm talking about. It's a matter of listening to people, and that's a sales skill, is just listening to the individual, truly listening to, Stephen Covey used to say, you seek first to understand and then be understood. We all want to be understood. That's a human need that we have. And if we would really approach life that way, to really understand the other person before we want to tell them, instead we listen with the intent of how we're going to respond, or what's my next question, or, ooh, how can I sell her this Lamborghini website? She's not buying it. I got to think, that's just the wrong way to approach things. And you might sell a website, but you're not going to have a happy client at the end, and that's that whole report thing I was talking about, right? I would rather build a website that Patty really likes that serves her interest and gets her to where Florida was. And then she's going to be very happy with me and probably tell her friends about me, then sell her a Lamborghini. It overwhelms her. It doesn't serve her needs. And she's cursing me under her breath every time someone dings on it. It's a mindset, right? And you're right, Patty. Everyone is different. And that's what I was saying about success. Everyone's thought of what success is different. And I think respecting that and understanding that and then servicing that is really a key to anything.
And frankly, I'm already feeling overwhelmed. What I want to see is an updated cruiser. They don't make them anymore. I realize that. I want an updated one. I want the most modern of the ones that they have.
Updated what?
A PT Cruiser. I think Kirk caught that because he had a smile on his face. But an updated PT Cruiser. Why? Because it serves the needs of what I'm intending to do, which is to get from home to home. I don't need. Somebody mentioned yesterday something. I don't remember who it was. Somebody mentioned about a BMW, and I went, I don't want a BMW. I'm not looking for a BMW. I don't need that fancy vehicle going into a neighborhood. And in fact, I have had customers tell me I have vowed off putting any kind of business signs on my car. If somebody thinks that the way for me to bring in business is to advertise with the sign on my car, they could not be more wrong if they tried. I have had customers tell me, please, we beg of you, don't put those signs on the car. Why? Because if I'm coming and going, let's say even sometimes if I'm doing a sleepover, but if I'm coming and going to somebody's home and I'm bringing signs into the neighborhood, it's on the same level as somebody meeting me in the middle of the street and saying, so when are Fluffy's parents coming home? I shut them down so quickly they don't know what happens. I'm like, I am sorry, I'm not at liberty to discuss that. It's on the same level because you don't know who's going to see those signs and you don't know who's listening in the middle of the street who can say, oh, well, she's gone, so perfect timing for a hit. That's the last thing that I need.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. That would be a selling point for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I come in, I look like I blend in. You don't have to worry about any of that. I'm not wearing a big old sombrero that says I'm a house sitter. I'm just going to look like I'm a family friend, neighbor, etc. And I think that's a selling point. So again, it's really just focusing on what serves you. You mentioned the car. It reminds me, especially since you're in Arizona, my uncle lives in Tucson still, but he was at one time had the largest law firm in Tucson and he became a judge, etc. So he could buy any car he wants. That was never an issue, right? But he drove a Chevy Chevette and he was a big guy. But it was the same thing you said. He goes, it gets me to my office and back the same way as any other car. Now, I think he did it for a lot more bravado than that, but that was the excuse he gave. So I can totally relate to your analogy there.
And I had a Chevette at one point. It served me. It served what the purpose that I needed the car for. Absolutely. It was a compact vehicle, low on gas. It didn't cost a whole lot. I'm not looking for a BMW. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, that's something that connects into my story. My wife, Sue, her first car was a Chevette. And so she's learning, she's from Northwest Wisconsin. So she's learning how to navigate snowy, icy roads, black ice, all the elements out with her Chevette. Sure enough, the Chevette goes into the ditch. So as you're talking about all that, it reminded me of that story. So again, we are here at Onward and Upward podcast with our podcast engineer and producer, Emily Gomer. And we're about nonprofits. We're about service and things that we do personally to give of ourselves. We talk about even at BNI, it's about the giver's gain. We might start thinking about pay it forward. So Patty, do you want to share a little of yourself personally? Like when you're not, having that hat on for Patty's pampered pet sitting and we're just with Patty, like the business is aside and now we got Patty. what's kind of been your life journey in terms of volunteering, being part of your community, even faith community, whatever it may be? What's your autobiography and all that?
I don't know where to begin on an autobiography except to say that I have been involved with agencies. I have adopted pets that agency staff didn't know what to do with. My Chihuahua, who passed last year, was brought into a shelter up in North Idaho, where he was hiding in the back of the run, as they call them. And I had to crawl in to get to him. He was shaking, and the staff did not know how to handle him because he was so afraid of whatever the hoarding situation was that he was brought in with. And it took 3 times, but he was able to come around, and I adopted him. Unfortunately, he's gone, but that's an example of one of the things I do, one of the things I've done as an agency. I also, Kurt, want to believe that I have somewhat of a voice.
You do. The Happy Neighborhood Project is getting to know your voice. It's really good. Yeah, we just had a fireside chat with Chief Happiness Officer Edwin Edeberry, who once a month is performing as DJ Cho. And yeah, I saw the chatting there. Like, Edwin thought he heard music, and I think you were saying you were singing. Does that count? And all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all good. And Emily and I were with founder of Shine Music Festival, or the founder, I should say. Actually, her name is Sean. What
a coincidence.
Yeah, winky dink, I call it. But in any case, I was talking to her about how I firmly believe there's no better way than to change the world than music. Do we agree? Hallelujah.
Well, my daughter is a singer. My daughter's a singer-songwriter out living in Nashville right now. And so I firmly believe that. I think it's amazing. I've always been a huge music buff, so to speak. And to hear her and some of the things she's done, it's just, yeah, I firmly believe music changes everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sean, I want to bounce back to you, in terms of, you're in business development, and, I just have a little bit of a shtick that I have. I try to expand my interaction with corporations in terms of corporate social responsibility. And then to look in terms of a marketing sense, to look at affinity and cause marketing. So as I'm looking at your proven coaching, life-changing results, business development, everything that Anchor Point and you bring forward, where is all of that in your philosophy?
Pretty forefront. I am a Christian, and very strong faith in that regard, which for me makes life a lot easier in a lot of regards. And I am involved with several charities, both financially. And one of my goals for 2021, I didn't quite accomplish it, was to be more involved in a charity beyond financial. And I started that endeavor, and it kind of fell apart. So I'm looking to regroup on that. Human trafficking has been a huge issue with me for a long time. I've got 3 daughters, so it's always kind of been forefront. I had no idea the extent to which it's a problem. I mean, you hear about it, everybody knows about it, but if you really understood the issue, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. Not only in the United States, but around the world. So there's several organizations. One of them is Operation Underground Railroad. Don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it was started by an ex-Navy SEAL. And go on YouTube and look up his story. It's absolutely riveting on what made him walk away from a job with no funding to start an organization, a nonprofit, to affect the human trafficking, and how it's just excelled. And he had other special forces people just drop out right behind him and join. It was amazing. And he's doing great things. I think Tim Tebow, the old quarterback, is doing amazing things in a lot of regards, but the human trafficking, especially, he's really putting himself out there. He's quite an individual and so I support him as well. Wounded Warriors, I've been a supporter of for a long, long time. I never served in the military. My dad was a Marine, his brothers were Marines, but I never served. It is a void in my resume that I wish didn't exist in hindsight, but I didn't, it wasn't something I avoided. It just never occurred. I did come close to becoming a pilot. They wouldn't guarantee me, and my mom kind of freaked out when I was telling her I was going to leave college and join the Air Force. So that kind of fell apart, but that's as close as I came. I have great respect for the men and women that, they really do put their lives on the line so that we can do what we're doing right now. So I have great respect for that and do whatever I can to support those types of individuals. And that's one of the things I've been proud of my daughter too. I can't tell you how many benefits she's done, for the different organizations across Houston and even up in Nashville. She'll, at the drop of a hat, perform to support them and make sure that, we can do whatever we want. So those are the things that are important to me. I just really have a very strong pull towards the human trafficking side of it, and then supporting veterans at every aspect that I can. Those are probably the two biggest areas outside of my business life that I focus on.
Awesome. So
Mr. Sean, Kurt and I know somebody who lives in Scotland right now, and somebody in Florida, who are really big into the human trafficking thing. So maybe I could connect you guys on that regard.
That would be great. I am actively looking for a organization to be involved in beyond my financial support. So yeah, I'd love to visit with anybody in that regard. There's an organization here in Houston called Red M. It was started by a husband and wife. He works for NOV, the oil company. He's had a vice president of marketing or something, but his wife was very much involved in it, in human trafficking. And she said, you need to do something. You're a marketing guy. So he started an organization where he takes business people using their skills to help support other organizations that work in that field. So that is an organization I'm looking at. We've been discussing as well, and hopefully I'll get more involved in that. So anything along those lines, I'm very, very interested in supporting.
And another thing, Onward and Upward. Anna Maria Blevin, who Kurt mentioned earlier, the founder of it, is actually a veteran herself. And so one of the things with Onward and Upward is all about supporting and helping veterans, along with the homeless population, but a big one is the veteran community. So maybe we can get you and Namrick connected. That maybe somehow can help out with Onward and Upward somehow. We are
absolutely love to have that conversation.
We are having a event next month, fundraising event next month, to help combat veteran suicide. And so if there's anything with that, Kurt, anything you want to add?
Yeah, what we're talking about here is February 22nd, and that falls on a Tuesday. I got that off of Facebook. Somebody else is doing something on February 22nd, and they kind of got that going. So I don't remember who I credit for that, but it does come from Facebook trolling. So, but I thought that was clever to turn it into Tuesday, because of 2/22, 2022, and it's about 2/22 to save 22. So kind of sounds like somebody's got a little gap in their teeth and they're kind of spitting something out, two. So, but again, this is all a serious response for our veterans. Again, we have 22 veterans a day that that has been known as the statistic, and still is known as the statistic, but it's outdated. It has grown to over 33 veterans a day we lose to suicide. So we are basing an event out of the Kalahari of the Wisconsin Dells area, and we're opening it up to live streaming and internet. So I'm doing things to call upon all my happy neighbors, and saying, if you can take your pen or pencil or type it into the computer, and let's draft a role for each of us on that Tuesday. It's a 24-hour span, and if we start thinking internationally, it's like New Year's Eve, where it's even a greater time span, because we're dealing with time zones like over in Australia and the Orient and things of that nature. So we just really want to thrust out a consciousness and an international energy, and create a shift on this, like you say, anchor point. We want to have a response that is spot on, and just really giving the veterans what they need. We have JR with the Veterans Ranch, does equine therapy, and we have what they call a FOB, a forward operating base, through Project Die Hard out of Illinois. And we're collaborating with Colorado, and this goes on with a coalition, a veteran coalition. We have 6 organizations, of which Onward and Upward is one of them. And so now we're kind of building it out to be an all hands on deck initiative. And so I am picturing this, that everybody I know in my life, I think, can come into this and spare, if nothing else, 22 minutes to be a part of this international response to, we're looking at hundreds being gathered there at the Kalahari locally, and then it'll be podcasted out, and Zoom meetings and other live streaming. The Disability Channel is going to be there. It's kind of a big deal, because it's a big deal that we are losing our veterans. So the time
really is. And one of the things, my daughter, I'm not trying to promote her in any way, believe me, but I'm very proud of her. But she's always had a heart for bullying and suicide and mental issues. She's dealt with them herself very openly, and it's, I'm not spreading a secret. She's been very open about dealing with that. And she was asked to write a song for a TV show that was going to be on Netflix. It fell apart. But I'll send you a link to that. You got to check it out. It's about suicide, and it's really amazing. It is an issue, and I think one of the things that we're seeing, especially and I think the pandemic helped us as well. It did bring those issues, or bring those conversations much more to the forefront. When we saw at the very early stages with the lockdown, people that were, making that decision in a very short period of time. I think it kind of opened a lot of people's eyes to and maybe it caused us to pause enough to even talk about it. Right. We were also busy in our lives. For the first time, everybody was kind of, what do we do now? It did bring those issues up, and I hope it continues to have that conversation. I think, when I was a younger man, it was looked at more as something was wrong with you, just toughen up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I think there's a lot more involved and now that we're looking at the veterans, the people that we really look at is, if there's a man's man or woman's woman, man, they're in the military, right? And when they're dealing with it, I think that really strikes home. You can't be saying, pull up by the bootstraps. Look what that person did and how they got in that situation, right? So it's very tragic. It's very sad. And but if there is a good side to it, and again, I'm an optimist, right? But it's forced us to have that conversation, and it's forced us to really look at individuals and try and understand what people are dealing with. So I'd love to be part of that, and congratulations on putting it forward and continuing the conversation.
Thank you very much. So everybody out there, that is the digit 2-22 to save22.com, 2-22 to save22.com. Check it out, and please be involved. Like I say, even if you can give us 22 minutes of your day somewhere in there, between when you wake up and you retire to go to sleep again, somewhere in that time range. If you could please give us 22 minutes or more of your day, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you're inclined to share this out with 22 contacts or more, that would be good too. We're just kind of in this beggars can't be choosers thing. So anything you're willing to offer out there is great. And so that will conclude it. That is our final thought for today. Again, I'm Kurt Roskoff, an ambassador with the Disability Channel, with Onward and Upward and Prosperity Pathways. Pleased to be working with my cohort here, Emily Gallmer, producing these great Onward and Upward podcast shows. And she is executive assistant of Dr. Anna Maria Bliven, who we are proud to be serving with, our Army veteran and lady entrepreneur, really tearing it up in the marketplace, serving at universities, University of Wisconsin Whitewater and Western Governors University. Just never a slow moment for Dr. Anna Maria Bliven, serving all the time, and grandparent, and just what a life that Anna Maria lives. And Emily, that would conclude it for us on our side. What about your side? Let's package this up, box it up, and put a bow on it. Let's get out of here. What do you got, Emily?
I just wanted to thank first and foremost Marcus Hart and Transforming Media for allowing us to use their platform, and encourage everybody to go to our social media, and thank you for all the activity on those pages. We're here every Friday, so everybody to tune in same time next week, same place. And I guess, Kurt, until next week, everybody stay safe, healthy, and happy.
There we go. And again, thanks, Sean and Patty.
Well, thank you for having me. For the time.
All right.
Yeah, I meant that too.
There you go. That's why we team up. Between us, we get it all covered. So, all right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.